You're listening to DraftKings Network.
The John, Anik, and Kenny Florian podcast. John, Anik, and Kenny Florian.
I f***ing love them. I can't get enough of them.
Let's hear that Boston next.
Big jab there from Duffy, and Frank Mir is hurt now. Down goes Duffy, out cold. Frank Mir does it again. Rock'em sock'em robots here. Oh my goodness.
Hyperbole.
There are a couple of absolutely self-involved bullshit artists.
Here are your hosts, John, Anik, and Kenny Florian.
Headshot, bang!
Oh, big fight week feel. Great to have you with us for what is episode 512 of the Anik and Florian podcast. Wherever you may be watching or listening to the show, we thank you. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your friends, tell your loved ones. Kenny Florian's on a hot mic twice a week on the DraftKings Network, DraftKings YouTube channel, Anik and Florian podcast channel. What's up, Ken Flo?
What's happening, kid? Nice shirt you got there, kid.
Well, since you brought attention to it, our great artist, Joe Romero, Average Joe Art, nothing average about him, Una Dormida Mas, our One More Sleep offering for Noche UFC, in addition to our Just Straight One More Sleep Mexican flag offering, flying off the shelves, proceeds to charity. Jay, you got something? Am I messing something up? Promo code is Noche for 15% off your order. But this shirt and the depths that they went to try to make it special in terms of the consultation of Mexicans in Joe's family and Mexican culture. I'm just going to stand up because this is a pretty special one for us, Ken Flo.
Might be one of the best yet. I love the art. It looks sick. It's a huge show. And yeah, Joe killed it, dude. Love it.
Una Dormida Mas. Right now, just a few more sleeps until Noche UFC. Very excited about it. I teased earlier in the week that I was going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I was shown for this Sphere show because my mind was effectively blown by my boss, Craig Borsari, and a few others last week when they showed me some of the visuals that our fans, both at home and in the venue, are going to experience on September 14th. Now, there are chapters and worlds and all sorts of different components that are going to make this special, but great lengths have been gone to try to make this just as special back home. The main card is going to be absolutely fantastic. They've also gone to great lengths to make sure that while the fighting is going on, that it'll be fight appropriate things. But my gosh, man, it is going to be absolutely spectacular. And I know a lot of people are maybe talking about the fight card not being UFC 299 or UFC 300. And Kenny, I just think nobody's going to be talking about that on Monday morning. And the last three fights are so big that they're going to steal the dance and lead the show anyway.
Well, listen, yeah, I think the main card is absolutely fascinating. And I think it was really smart. You know, they haven't been releasing a whole lot, but they have been releasing little tidbits, little videos on some of the behind the scenes stuff of the Sphere. And I must admit, I definitely got more excited because I think it's going to be not only obviously an experience for those watching live, but it's going to be a different experience for those watching at home as well. So I'm excited to see what they're cooking up.
And I can't really peel back the curtain too much as far as how the pay-per-view might change, but I think my traditional single pay-per-view open might not even exist. Wow. And there are a lot of different things that are going to happen on this night. In terms of the pay-per-view open, though, and I did bring it up on this call, I do find it sort of interesting trying to interweave Mexican Independence Day, a love letter to Mexican combat sports and combat sports fans and the fighting spirit of that nation and everything that they experienced as a people in their formative years as a nation, trying to tie that in to our American champion, Sean O'Malley, and our Georgian challenger, Merab Dvalishvili. And I can't really go to that secondary level for our Mexican champion, Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko, if I'm doing a traditional pay-per-view open for the main event. So one thing thematically that I'm working with is sort of love letter to the Mexican combat sports fans, but it's actually been Americans who have dominated this mixed martial arts landscape. You know, if you talk about Mexican success in boxing, certainly had a lot of Mexican success lately in MMA, but Americans historically have dominated in the UFC, and we have an American champion tonight trying to prevent this Georgian challenger from realizing his dreams. So that's something I'm working with. I don't even know right now as I talk to people if I'm going to be afforded the opportunity to write something like that. I can't wait to do this. I'm anxious. Conor McGregor pay-per-view level anxiety as I pack my suitcase. So, yeah, we're ready to go. We're ready to go.
Fun, dude.
All right. NFL season is also underway. TD, Tutty, take it to the house, whatever you call a touchdown at home. They matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And if you're ready to place your first wager, try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a touchdown. A lot of good options on the board for week 2. Do I dare play the New England Patriots in their home opener, catching 3 and a hook against the Seattle Seahawks? I don't know. But if you're proud to do a celebration dance of your own, a touchdown dance of your own, score big, not now, but right now at DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code AFPOD. That's code AFPOD for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium on us. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms. All right, now we go 3 wide, not unlike an NFL team. My favorite part of the show, my heavy lifting is done. I've been long up anyway. Main event challenge time. Before we get there, pronunciation of the week. And
yes.
For the program, our chief handicapper, big gun, Brian Petrie. Good day, sir.
What's up, boys? Good day indeed. Your Pats got me yesterday. Was a little depressed. Maybe lost some sleep. The Bengals look bad, but we're here. I'm still repping the orange and black, so we're good.
Yeah, so you got a lot of nerve wearing that Cincinnati Bengals.
I thought about taking it off. It is a little chilly in my house, but listen, I've been there in the 90s where they were awful, so I'm going to be there now.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into the noise that is Noche UFC, and it is the best kind of clamor, anything for us on Sean Brady, future stuff on him, Ian Machado, Gary? I think he's an absolute force, and he's not going to be getting worse in the gym.
Yeah, so everything I said about him last week, he shoved it right up my ass, and I love that. I love that about the guy. He went out there and stood in the pocket with Gilbert Burns, exchanged, showed toughness. He took some shots. Yeah. Clearly there's toughness there, cardio off the charts. He wrestled hard for 5 rounds, and Gilbert wasn't making it easy on him. No. That's a hard dude to grapple with. Blown away. Super impressed by a guy like Sean Brady. If the guy can stay healthy, if he can get, stay clean and start fighting more often, we got a real dude at 170. Again, 170 is really sneaking up there as one of the best weight classes in the UFC. Blown away by him. I mean, literally 5-star performance for Sean Brady.
Yeah, welterweight's on fire. We'll see when the champion makes the walk next. There are a lot of contenders waiting in the wings. All right. I got some bad news for fans of the pronunciation of the week. This is the swan song.
Oh, so we're going out on a good one.
Here's the deal. So here's the deal. We are still going to offer pronunciations up as a public service during the main event challenge whenever we see fit. And likely that will be on a weekly basis. But Jason Anik is the manager of the Anik and Florian business. And he said to me this week, I can't do it with the pronunciation of the week anymore.
He asked it. Jay asked it. All right.
Can we at least get the soundbite of Betchka Hey? Can we at least still get that throughout? Okay.
Betchka.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Better.
Sorry, I'm trying to have the camera not blur. So we have people who are split on the pronunciation of the week. But, Jay was talking about, I'll listen to the show, maybe 1.25 speed. He's like, pronunciation of the week, 1.5 speed on the podcast listening isn't enough. I just fast forward through that entire exercise. And he is like the president of the Brian Petrie fan club. So
sure. Yeah.
Right, it has nothing to do with you. He just doesn't like it. And he wants us to take it out back and fucking shoot it.
Old Yeller it. All right, Jay. Jay's the boss.
Yeller. That's funny.
Old Yeller it. All right.
All right. So unless we get sort of a groundswell an avalanche of our listeners and viewers who say they need the pronunciation of the week in their lives moving forward. We will play the files that maybe are questionable or fun to listen to in the future, but this will be the last rendition as exercise. Oh, that's hard for me, man. I kind of like this segment, but I have to entrust in Jay. All right, so likely a repeat offender here on the pronunciation of the week. I just picture people fucking fast forwarding this right now or speeding up the show. So this one is a tough name to pronounce, I think, in terms of the syllabic emphasis. She is a 25-year-old Mexican warrior, strawweight contender out of Tijuana, coming off a February win over Sam Hughes. Phonetics are there for you if you're watching on YouTube. Yeah. And Bri, you can use those at your leisure. What do you think for this strawweight contender? Kid!
Are we going to get to the next? Because the next guy's got some backstory for me. I will go with this one right now. This is Yasmin Howergy.
So pretty good. I don't know. Are you eating? No, you're not eating right now.
I got marbles in my mouth, bro. No, I'm not eating.
Let's hear
permanent condition.
Jasmine.
My name is Yasmin Jauregui. My name is Yasmin Jauregui.
Yeah, we're just emphasizing that first syllable, Cam Flo. That's all we're trying to get across to the masses today.
Yeah, no, there's not a whole lot of g sounds in Spanish. So
yeah. So we also have the file for Raul Rosas Jr.'s opponent in what will be the first fight of the night, Bri. So what do you have for us on that name?
So this has a little backstory. I butchered this name about year or two ago. The wonderful, beautiful, kind Heidi D sent it to me and said, hey, this is how you say this guy's name on my own show. And it literally keeps me up at least once a night. I wake up and hear this because this guy's clearly has committed murder. So you're not going to be able to tell the difference between my voice and the file. So hopefully you'll differentiate. But it's Erlichilong, the Mongolian murderer.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds a lot like the file. Yeah, the nickname Mongolian murderer. This will be a file that might keep you up at night. Let's hear it, Cody.
My name is Aorizhilong, Mongolian murderer. My name is Aorizhilong, Mongolian murderer.
Yeah, I'm out, dude. I'm out.
That dude's killed somebody.
I'm out.
He's murdered before.
Kenny, what are you saying on broadcast?
Dude, it's just that. That's what I
All right. And with that, the pronunciation of the week dies forever. Jay, you're welcome.
Jay did it.
Main event challenge. Noche UFC Riyadh season presents Noche UFC. First pick for us, lightweight prelim. Line is flip PP. Manuel Torres, minus 118. Ignacio Bahamondes, minus 102. So Bahamondes, the Chilean, now the underdog, still just 27. Trains under the great Mike Valley, Valley Flow Striking Academy, Chicago, Illinois, USA. He's won 4 of his last 5. And now, Bri, he draws the streaking Manuel Torres, who is 3-0 thus far in the UFC. BP, who do you have?
Yeah, I love this fight. This could be fight of the night. Truly, this is going to be a barn burner. If I could bet, will someone bleed in the fight? The answer is yes. I'm hammering the line. Don't care what the line is. But you guys know I love saying Ignacio Bahamondes. It makes me salsa dance a little bit. It's a sexy name. This is a sexy fight, too, because Ignacio, I think, has more technique. And I love the fact that he's in the gym and Bilal has taken this guy under his wing. And you're seeing Bilal work. You're seeing that work that got put in on Bilal. Bilal's championship, it didn't come from this ungodly skill. It came from the hard fucking work he puts in. And you got a front row seat to that for Ignacio. Ignacio looked a little slow against a little bit Klein. He rebounded well. I think his striking is going to be a little bit more cleaner than Torres. I think Torres is more of a powerful striker. He tends to end the fight early. He also is pretty well-rounded. He came off a submission win his last time out. However, I don't think this is going to go to the ground. I think they're going to slop him up and bang it out on the feet. And with that being said, I like Ignacio just a little bit. I lean him. Obviously, I love the name, but training with Bilal, you're going to get better. We say the champ gets 30% better. I think training with the champ maybe gives you 5% better, at least mentality-wise. And he's coming to his own a little bit. He's also been in some wars in there. And I think Manuel Torres has kind of cruised so far in his UFC career. So he's gonna have to buckle up here for Bahamondes.
Ignacio Bahamondes, minus 102 right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. Ken Flo taking on Manuel Torres. I mentioned 3-0 in the UFC, 3 finishes, 3 bonuses. Sneaky big spot here at 155 pounds where it's hard to crack the top 25, never mind top 15. Who do you have for us in this prelim, Ken Flo?
For sure. Listen, fans are about to get really loud for this one. I think it's going to be a really exciting fight while it lasts. I think that Torres is a really dangerous guy, just like Bahamondes. I think both these guys are finishers. They want to decide the fight with their own hands, and I could definitely see it going that way. Which way? I'm not exactly sure. I am leaning towards Bahamondes because I like his height and length in this fight. However, he is susceptible to getting hit, and Torres definitely has some knockout power. He has some submission ability as well. But like Brian, I agree. I don't think we're going to see a ton of grappling exchanges. That's not the way I see it. I think largely we will see this fight being taken place on the feet. And that's where Bahamondes, if he's smart, can utilize those long-range strikes well, keep Torres from getting on the inside and landing those devastating combinations on the inside, whether it's to the body or those hooks to the head. Yeah, I think Torres probably has the power edge perhaps, but we know that Bahamondes can get it done as well with his striking. He knows how to put a guy to sleep. So I'm leaning towards Ignacio. I like his length. I like his experience as well. And either way, it's going to be fun.
All right, next up, prelim portion, women's bantamweight division, Irene Aldana -120, Norma Dumont +100. So Dumont, I don't know if she's the most under-talked about contender in this division. 7-2 in the UFC. Her only losses have been at featherweight, if my research is accurate. She has missed weight at times. Good opportunity for her here. They don't get much bigger than this BP, right? She takes on the credentialed, fairly recent world title challenger, Irene Aldana. Petrie, who do you love?
Yeah, Big Norm. Big Norm. She just wins fights. You know what I mean? She's not flashy. She doesn't get a lot of finishes. But she wins.
That, bro.
She wins. Well, I mean, listen. She only weighs 135 pounds. She's big for the division. She's a sweetheart.
Big Norm.
She wins is what she does. That's the point. And her at plus money right now, anybody can gobble it up. Problem is I love Aldana. This is very hard to do. You guys cracking up.
You're killing me, dude.
I'll keep it short. I like Aldana. I think she'll rebound well. She barely beat Kara Rosa by the skin of her teeth, but at least she was active in throwing her strikes. Her striking is the most important part in this fight. Big Norm is going to want to land some takedowns. Don't know if it's going to happen. Give me Ariana Aldana.
I can't, dude.
Oh, my God.
I can't. I'm crying laughing, dude.
I'm trying to see if I have a fighter meeting with her. I hope I don't.
It's a compliment. It's a compliment.
Big Norm. Give her a high five. Be like, Big Norm.
She'll love it.
What up?
This is going to go from funny to not funny. I'm going to get my phone and see if I have a fighter meeting with I'm not going to say it because, AI, they could get me saying it anyway. So, Big Norm. Wow.
I didn't even hear his pick. I don't even know who.
It's Aldana. I picked Aldana.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. Kenny, why don't you give us your prediction? I'm going to see if I have a fighter meeting with Big Norm.
I was too busy laughing. That's brilliant stuff, Brian. All right. So this is really tricky for me because, we haven't seen Aldana a little bit. I think Dumont is a very good fighter. I think that she's very good with her takedowns. She knows how to control the fight. She knows how to slow things down. I think Aldana sometimes can be a little bit of a slow starter. I don't think she wants to do that against someone like Norma Dumont. I think that, she can get caught behind and now she plays catch up. She gets overly aggressive. She gets taken down again. She gets outpointed. I don't see either of them. Well, if I see someone getting the finish, I think it's Aldana. Aldana, when she's on her game with her striking, man, does she get sharp. She is a phenomenal jab. But Dumont does as well. She's a really good flick jab. So this one is really tricky for me. I ended up going with Norma Dumont. I think that, her recent experience, her ability to kind of win rounds and fight smart might be the difference here. Wouldn't be surprised either way with the win from either woman here, but I'm leaning towards the Brazilian here.
14 fighter meetings coming up on Wednesday. Norma Dumont is not on the list. And I would hold it together. But Big Norm lives as of today, and it's a term of endearment from Brian.
100%. She's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Main card opener, flyweight. Ronaldo Rodriguez, -130. Ode Osborne, +110. Rodriguez, 25, took him 4 years, brought to get to the UFC after losing on the Contender Series back in 2020. Won his UFC debut in February, now spinning it forward against the 9-time UFC veteran, the Jamaican Ode Osborne. BP, take us through the main card opener, if you would.
Yeah, this is a surprise on the main card. I thought Raul Rosas Jr. would be in this spot. Rodriguez looked really bad in his Contender Series fight against Jerome Rivera, who did nothing in the UFC. His fights outside the UFC before he got re-signed again, he looked very good. He's very good on the ground. He tends to rush to get the fight to the ground, and with a guy like Ode, that could be a problem. But Ode Osborne, when he gets on the ground, he panics, he freaks out. He's coming off 2 rear naked choke losses. Instead of fighting hands, fighting for, okay, I'm okay in this position, he's trying to get up. You're going to get your neck take. You're going to get something taken. And I just don't think he's going to clean that up at this point. I think his takedown defense is getting better, but I just don't think his submission defense is better. So give me Rodriguez probably by sub within the first 2 rounds is probably going to be my play.
Kenflo Osborne's lost 3 of 4. As Brian mentioned, submitted in 2 straight. He'll try to turn it around here. I can't be the only one listening to this show still thinking about Big Norm, but Kenny, we need it. Rodriguez minus 130, Osborne plus 110.
Yeah, Osborne really needs this one. This is a tough spot for him here, taking on Ronaldo. I was disappointed to see Ronaldo cut his hair. He's got short hair now. Ronaldo McDonald, though, is gone. Yeah. I'm a little disappointed.
Ruined it. Lost the juice.
Yeah, listen, I think that, as Brian talked about, Osborne really does struggle on the ground. He does have that wrestling background, but you do see him getting taken down, and you do see him giving up his back a lot, probably a lot to do with that wrestling background. He has to be better here. Not that Rodriguez is like this dynamo necessarily with his jiu-jitsu, but he is pretty sharp with his submission game and with his ground and pound. So Osborne's got to be careful there. And Rodriguez looks like, I saw a little bit of his training. It seems like he's been working on his hands a lot more, seems a lot sharper in that department. But sometimes can take him a little bit to warm up. Also, sometimes his defense can be a little lackadaisical. Not something you want to do against Osborne, who is very dynamic, who is very fast and powerful. So both guys need to be careful on the feet. I'm leaning towards Rodriguez here a little bit because just sometimes we see Osborne just make some really poor decisions out there. And that to me, just it becomes a little bit too unreliable at times. But he does have a shot at winning this, especially on the feet. But give me Rodriguez.
All right, next up at lightweight, Kenflo, right back to you here. Daniel Zellhuber minus 250 taking on Esteban Ribovics plus 205, Zellhuber. Yeah, a lot of young Mexican fighters, and this maybe is among the most promising according to some. Zellhuber's won 3 in a row. Kenflo should get a stern, violent test from Argentina's Esteban Ribovics. Who do you like, Kenflo, here at 155?
Yeah, this is another, interesting one. This is one of the ones that I may have the most conviction on. So many of these fights are so close. And the reason for that is just Zellhuber has really proven himself. He's been in the fire. He's faced a lot of tough competition. And now he's ready to kind of, for that second stage of his career, where he's proven himself. Now it's time to take on some tougher opposition. And I think Esteban Ribovics is really tough and really dangerous. This guy has dynamite in his hands. He's going to be the shorter man for sure, but he knows how to get on the inside and cause a lot of chaos when he does that. He's got excellent hooks, a lot of shots on the inside that can pose some problems for Zellhuber, but Zellhuber moves really well. He knows how to keep the proper distance and keep the fight at the proper range. And I think that's what we see here. I like Zellhuber pretty confidently here. I think he's probably the better guy on the feet and on the ground. Not to say he doesn't have to worry about the Argentinian fighter Ribovics because he is dangerous, but I like Zellhuber in this spot a lot.
BP Ribovics, 28 years of age, huge UFC highlight, of course, that knockout of Terrence McKinney, 37 seconds in. Power on the Contender Series you saw back in 2022 as well. We'll see if he can drum up something special here as the road underdog, so to speak, against Zellhuber. Who do you have?
Yeah, Kenny and I are seeing the board pretty well. I feel like that's going to be someone Kenny bets on. I definitely know I'm betting on him, and it's going to be Zellhuber. Listen, Ribovics is a talented dude. He has power, but it comes down to me who's cleaner, and Zellhuber's by far cleaner on every which way. On the ground, with his chokes, with his footwork. The only thing that's in the back of my head as a gambler is Zellhuber did lay a complete egg against Trey Ogden. That was a really bad performance. He has since rebounded really well since then. But if I don't think that's going to happen because of where he's at, who he's fighting in front of, and basically representing the country where he's from. I think we're looking for a big performance from him, maybe possibly a finish. If not, he's going to do everything he can to get the finish. I like Zellhuber big here.
So sometimes when you're on a headset for 8 hours and things are going on and maybe your personal life, you got to make sure that you don't even for a split second think about those things and stay focused. And I remember when my daughter Tatum was going through something years ago, for a second, I started thinking about her maybe having epilepsy. And I was like, dude, you're calling a fight. Like, what are you doing? And I bring it up in the context of big fucking Norm.
Dude, I'm texting you during the fight. I'm just going to text you Big Norm, just randomly throughout the night.
Listen, you
throughout
can
the
say
night, bro. I'm going to test John Anik's resolve on Saturday.
As a big guy, and not Norm is nowhere my size. I'm not comparing to me. I get hit with big guy all the time. I tell you the one thing I don't like is when a woman says, "Hey, big fella," because then I'm like, "Are you serious? Just rip my balls off when you say that to me." Or big boy, and I'm,
Right,
but but Big Norm, she's the best. I mean, I love it.
No, and chicks and all of those things.
Yeah.
Big is not a term of endearment historically to women, right? And so, heaven
She's got
forbid,
a big winning record, John.
Heaven forbid she knocks out a Renee Aldana and I drop a Big Norm, right? I'm gonna get a call. Yeah, the apology in advance. Yeah, Kenny, I was gonna say, text me during the fight. There will be at one point during the fight where I have a little smirk, and let's hope that I don't get as distracted as I am today, because you guys both seem pretty convicted on Daniel Zellhuber, and all I'm thinking about is fucking Big Norm making that walk. It's going to mess with me bad. All right. Featured bout in the featherweight division.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I mean, just give me this, right?
Yeah.
Like, we prepped this fight already, and now we have it. My Brian Ortega notes are almost complete. He didn't even fight. Diego Lopez minus 180, Brian Ortega plus 150. Huge fight in the featherweight division. Many of you know the backdrop. It was to happen at UFC 303 back in June. Had to come together at that time quickly to bolster that card. The weight class changed. It was moved to 55. Fell apart. Day of the event, Ortega falls ill. Dan Ige steps in. Lopez has to dig deep, still emerges with the win. And now, Bri, this fight has been put back together for fight fans around the world. We need to see it, and it'll happen at Sphere in a few days. Who do you like?
Oh, man, I love this fight so much. This is such high-level stuff because it's a stupid to say, but I still have questions about Diego Lopez because he's looked so good against really good competition, but and he comes from a jiu-jitsu background. What is he going to look like on the ground with Ortega? Kenny's going to break down the jiu-jitsu better than I can, but that's interesting because no one wants to go to the ground with Ortega. He invites it to the ground, and Ortega always starts slow on the hands. He's got a great chin. He has a good jab, but he tends to start slow. He's not the fastest guy in there, but he finds his timing. And Diego Lopez is very good at disrupting timing by shooting and getting you off kilter and aggression and blitzes. And I'm really curious how this is going to shake out. My initial early thought was maybe Brian Ortega, T-City, is going to be a little too much for Lopez. But after seeing Lopez take on Dan Ige on hours' notice and handle that pretty well, the third round obviously got a little shaky for him. But considering the circumstances, who can fault him, right? This dude's the real fucking deal, Diego Lopez is. And I love the fact that he's chomping at the bit to get that one loss back that he took on short notice as well. He's come from a completely different fighter from his Contender Series days when he lost to Joanna Brito. This dude right now is peaking, and he's peaking at the right time. I think he's going to have a really good performance. I don't know how this fight's going to go. Is it going to stay standing? Is it going to go to the ground? It's interesting to me, but I'm going to go Diego Lopez. I'm going to stick with the hot hand, but I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Ortega wins. That's how exciting this fight is. I mean, the line to me is a little off. So if you want to take Ortega at plus 150, that's a great number. But in my head, it's a pick 'em. It's a great fight.
How many featherweight contenders would have done what Diego Lopez did in fighting Dan Ige?
0.
I just think it's insane. And I think he would figure to get a title shot with a big performance here, in some part because of the extent to which he stepped up, even with some of the Ortega circumstances and considerations before accepting the Ige fight, in which a lot of things figure to be working against him. There's a logjam at 145 pounds, Holloway Volkanovski, so perhaps Lopez gets a main event next if he wins here. But Kenny, first things first, and a seemingly motivated T-City, right? Trying to get a second win here in 2024 after not having won a fight since 2020. Huge fight, could steal the show. Ken Flo, we need a pick.
There's certain fights and there's certain experiences where you probably gain like 3 or 4 fights of experience in that one experience. And I feel like that was the case for Lopez in his last one against Dan Ige, where so much was going on. And for him to kind of get through that and still get the win. And yes, I know it was Ige who was taking that fight on short notice. Lopez had to deal with a lot, man. There's a lot of emotions going on. And I think he gained a lot from that. Now, not only did he gain about 3 or 4 fights of experience from that one, but we must remember that despite him being a relative newcomer compared to Ortega here, he has almost twice as many fights as Ortega. So this guy's coming in here with a lot of experience. And I think he's probably going to be I think he is the more versatile, more dangerous striker in a lot of ways. But Ortega might be the more potent finisher, which is why this is so interesting. I think that Lopez positionally should be okay here, but Ortega with his submissions, if he's able to get a bite on the neck, a bite on the leg, a bite on the arm, that's where Lopez really needs to be careful here. And I could see Ortega pulling it off. I mean, how many times have we seen Ortega hurt, in trouble? It looks like it's all over, and he finds a way to come back. This dude is a warrior through and through. Do not underestimate that good-looking kid. So I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. I think based on it being a 3-rounder, based on the fact that Lopez is just sharper with his striking, I think we're going to see Lopez win a decision here. I love Ortega as a fighter, everything he's shown, but I think Lopez has just been gaining all of the right experience for this moment right here and well poised to challenge for the belt in the relative near future. So give me the Brazilian, Diego Lopez.
Nice. All right, 2 more fights to break down, and then in about 10 minutes, place your bets. These guys will have $2,000 to spend at UFC 306 / Riyadh season Noche UFC. Co-main event for the Women's Flyweight Championship, Alexa Grasso -122, Valentina Shevchenko +102. Line is bouncing around, BP, but settling close to a pick'em, or so we think it will. Third meeting. Second fight took place September 2023. Memorable draw. That was Noche UFC last year. And largely they've been focused on each other for the better part of 2 years. Who do you think takes the third meeting? Brian Petrie, take it away.
Yeah, I really am intrigued in this fight because Shevchenko was her for many years. She was her. She was untouchable. And Grasso kind of stole that in the first fight. In the second fight, I really thought Grasso did enough to win. It was very close. I know Shevchenko landed 4 takedowns, but Grasso outstruck her. Split draw. What are we going to do? Let's rematch them. They were on the Ultimate Fighter together. They butted heads a little bit there, but they kept it respectful. And now there's some interviews coming out where Shevchenko is taking exception. I don't know. This is the fight game. But I think Grasso has the advantage on the feet when it comes to the hands. I never thought I would say that against Valentina Shevchenko. I think Shevchenko's a very good kicker, and she keeps distance. But Grasso's really good at creating space between that distance and working her hands. And I see Shevchenko really countering with her hands, but not so much leading with her hands. I think Shevchenko, if she wants to win this fight, she went for a lot of takedowns last time. Both the fights, she went for a lot of takedowns, landed 4 in each of them. She's going to have to mix it up, but she's got to mix it up with her hands as well. And Grasso comes from a boxing background, so she is comfortable there. And she's also comfortable on the ground off her back. That's what led to the submission last time when she took her back. So this is really interesting. It's cutting hairs. I love the line. I love how low it's placed. But I'm actually pretty confident in Alexa Grasso. This is a word I never even used. I don't even know how I know this word, but she's unflappable, is Alexa Grasso. She's so calm, and she just doesn't give a fuck. She's like, yeah, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to fight you. And she knows what she's doing. She comes from a great camp. Yeah. I love the low line because that's going to be high returns for me. I like Grasso, possibly by submission again or decision more likely, but give me Alexa Grasso.
That's nicely done, and I would agree with you. I think that Alexa Grasso, who has been the champion since UFC 285 now, wears it well, has championship medal, Kenny, definitely some friction on this matchup, right? We've had fighter meetings with Valentina Shevchenko in the past where she has given us very little. This matchup seems to evoke some emotion, healthy disdain, if you want to call it that. I thought Valentina, emotional to whatever degree going into the second meeting, fought really well, and I kind of felt like she won what was a close fight. She is 36. Grasso just turned 31, and it is the 11th straight title fight for Valentina Shevchenko. Kemflo, that is a lot. How do you see the co-headliner at Noche UFC going down?
I must admit, I'm very intrigued by this fight. As I was watching the rematch, and in my opinion, that's the fight you really should only watch in preparation for this one. There's a lot going on there. And as I was watching, I thought I had it all figured out. I'm looking at the fight until midway through round 5, and I'm like, Shevchenko wins this. She's winning this. She has this in the bag. And then she makes a mistake very, I guess, in a similar fashion that she did in the first fight, and she gives up her back. And in my opinion, Grasso not only stole the round, but ended up turning it into like a 10-8 round because of the amount of damage that she can do in a short amount of time. She was close to finishing that rear naked choke a couple times. She was relentless with her ground and pound. And to me, that really has been the difference. Shevchenko knows how to win rounds, and Grasso knows how to win fights. And I think that's kind of the distinction here. Grasso is extremely potent with her offense. When she has her opportunity, man, does she make the most out of it. She was the one who dropped Shevchenko, not the other way around. And you just don't see that. When you've been as dominant as Shevchenko has for so long, it's a good thing in that you show your dominance. However, there's many different cracks from people waiting on the sidelines to figure out a way to watch you. And your patterns have been set. And I think her patterns have been set here. I don't see Shevchenko coming in here and looking vastly different. If she does, man, applause. She gets it done. That's tremendous. I don't see that happening at this stage of the game. And you can't say that Shevchenko took her foot off the gas or didn't take the fight seriously or any of that. None of those things can be attributed to someone like Valentina Shevchenko. She is a professional through and through. However, I haven't seen a whole lot of difference in her game, okay? Grasso, I have. She gets better every single time out. Now, it's been a year since the last time they've fought. I think the biggest improvements that must be made since that time is in the wrestling of Grasso. Grasso was, I don't know if it was a question of her not really being ready for the takedowns or her just being physically weaker than someone like Shevchenko, but she was giving up a lot of easy takedowns, which is unacceptable, I think, in that championship fight. It looked like me versus Shirk. It looked terrible. But I think she's going to come back way sharper. She did show one really good sprawl in that rematch. I think we're going to see much better wrestling, and I think she's the better boxer. I don't know if she's necessarily the better kicker, but she is the better puncher. Her hand combinations, all of those things are very sharp. I think her footwork might be a little bit better than Shevchenko, who sometimes looks a little robotic sometimes. So I like Grasso here. I think Grasso gets it done. I'm not sure she gets it by finish, but if there was someone who gets the finish, I think it will be her. Her ability to stay composed in some really difficult spots, like when she was mounted or when she had her back taken, she knows how to stay calm. But she needs to make huge improvements in her grappling from a year ago. And if she's able to do that, I think she gets it done.
Some of your finest work that I'm going to actually listen to that when I'm in my room prepping for the pay-per-view. And
very good.
Yeah, a lot to unpack, of course, from what was a fairly epic second meeting. We'll see what the trilogy fight holds between Grasso and Shevchenko. Anik and Florian podcast poll question results. Who do you think wins the co-headliner? Alexa Grasso minus 122 or Valentina Shevchenko plus 102? 56.6% of you like Shevchenko, even though our guys like Alexa Grasso. I do believe that Kenny and Brian have the ability to move the line. Alexa Grasso minus 122 as of this taping. I am fascinated to see where it closes. Before we get to the main event, it sounds to me, and you guys can give me a short answer here, as though maybe you're more convicted on Alexa Grasso to win that fight than you are on the main event, or like of these four athletes who will close the show, who are you most confident in? Is that a fair question on the spot, Brian, or no?
Wait till you hear my breakdown, maybe.
Right, great. No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Any of you don't even have to answer either. Main event for the undisputed Bantamweight Championship. Sean O'Malley, -130. Merab Dvalishvili, +110. So a little setup for you, BP, if I could. O'Malley, 10-1 with a no contest in the UFC, right? Think back to the Contender Series and the expectations, right? And then just let that marinate for a second. 10-1 in the UFC. Made good on the first title defense against Marlon Chito Vera. That was UFC 299 earlier this year in Miami. Now he draws half man, half machine. Merab Dvalishvili, 10-2 in the UFC, 10 straight wins, last of which came at UFC 298 in February against Henry Cejudo. He was impossible to deny. That is your UFC 306 headliner, Brian Petrie. Break it down for us, if you would.
I'm so excited for this main event. I truly am. This is one that has been circled for me. The fact that Merab finally gets his shot, he's been ready for a while, and he's going against a guy like Sean, who is a little bit of a figure where people hate him or they love him. Most people love him. I've been on the bandwagon from day one. I think this dude is special. I think him and his coach's relationship is special. I think his mind for the sport is special. And obviously what we see in the cage as well, the length, the power, the speed, the timing, the footwork. And Merab, like Ray said last week, which is getting quoted everywhere, which I love, is Merab is going to have to eat a few punches to get in there. And that's 100% true. He does that most of his fights, right? Merab's going to have to take a few to close that distance because of the length, because of the footwork. Merab is really good. Unlike Aljo wants to take you down and control you. Merab takes you down to beat you up, to let you back up, to take you down again. That's his process. His pace is what breaks you. Aljo wants to backpack you, stall you out and then choke you out, whatever the case may be. So I picked Aljo against Sugar, and I was like 50-50 on that, but I picked Aljo. We knew what happened. I know Aljo maybe wasn't 100%. But Sean O'Malley's performance against Chito Vera, a guy that seemingly had his number, was pretty flawless. I mean, if Chito wasn't Chito, that someone's getting out of there. That knee, the timing, the striking was perfect. He showed toughness because he got kicked, he got hit. Now you got Merab, where they don't like each other, talking shit. I've seen all the behind-the-scene footage. I love it. Merab's going to have to really put a pace on Sean, but he's going to run into some shit. He's going to run into some power. And I like Tim Welch. I like Sean O'Malley's mental. I like their preparation going into this fight. This is a fight they want. This is a fight they're not shying away from. That lets me know that they know something. That lets me know that they have a Jorge Masvidal flying knee in their back pocket. They know something here. I think Sean O'Malley is going to win. I think Sean O'Malley within 1 or 2 rounds by knockout is what I'm going to go with. Can Merab be knocked out? I don't know. The guy's a fucking machine. We're going to find out. But after rounds 1 or 2, maybe even halfway through 3, I would maybe start tailing the other side because I think Merab is going to more likely win a decision. But man, I'm so excited for this fight. This is high level. I've watched both footage on both these guys all weekend in between my Bengals getting the shit kicked in. And I like O'Malley, and I'm starting to like him big now. The more I talk about it,
I like it. Right? I mean, I know Ray Longo's on the show, but you got to bring it. And I think there are a lot of people out there convicted on O'Malley early. Ken Flo, a lot of people tune into this podcast to hear what you have to say about these big fights. So I'll get out of your way.
My goodness, what a fight. Again, we've talked about this many times before, just the contrast of everything these guys bring to the cage. They're just opposites on pretty much everything. And O'Malley's on top of his game, man. I think that his striking is great because of his footwork. And he makes it that much more difficult for people to get on the inside because he's 5'11", 135 pounds. There's just not a whole lot of guys that have that gift of length and height and know how to use it. And you would look at a guy like that and you'd be like, what's this guy, like a skateboarder or something? But he moves extremely well. He's very athletic, man. And the timing that is required to hit a left hand moving backwards a la Mayweather or Conor McGregor in his prime. It's something that is still rare to this day. You don't see a whole lot of people that are capable of doing it. His feints just might be the best in the game as well. That to me is huge. Why? Because it disguises everything that you're doing out there. Merab, however, just might be dumb enough to not even consider feints. I mean that respectfully. It's like he doesn't care what you're doing. He's like, I go forward. I'm a juggernaut. I eat shots. I put you on your back, and then I rinse, wash, repeat. And I think you almost need someone like a Merab to ignore all of that and just do what he does best. Now, he needs to make this octagon as small as possible. He needs to get O'Malley up against the cage. And if Merab's able to do that and do that consistently, well, I have bad news for the O'Malley fans. It's going to be all Merab, just all over O'Malley for 25 minutes or so. However, it's in that initial 7 to 9 minutes where O'Malley is going to be very dangerous. Another wrinkle of what makes this fight so interesting is the fact that Merab Dvalishvili does get hurt and does make mistakes in round one. If you're going to do it, that's when you do it. Now, O'Malley, when he starts a fight, is always sharp. I've rarely seen an O'Malley who looks hesitant to start a fight. This dude can cook right away. And I think for Merab, this is where he has to be most careful. And I don't know. I think for Merab, if it goes into the latter rounds, if it goes into round 3, switch your bets up, put it on Merab, in my opinion. And I said this earlier when we were talking to Ray Longo. In my opinion, this would be an absolute masterclass and be most impressive if O'Malley is able to beat Merab by decision. I think that would be way more impressive than getting the knockout.
I agree.
However, I do think he hurts Merab early and potentially takes him out. I'm leaning towards O'Malley here. I think it's a fascinating fight, but don't think for a second that I'll be surprised if Merab wins this one either. And I think my bets will probably indicate that as well. So, I can't wait for that one. It's fascinating for a lot of reasons, but I think the potency and the striking of O'Malley most likely gets it done yet again.
All right, there's your main event breakdown. The bets to come. 63.5% of our poll respondents like the now betting favorite Sean O'Malley. Most of the money that has come in on DraftKings Sportsbook has been on the champion side. All right, as we get ready for Place Your Bets, we first update the standings. Brian Petrie was at 1182.78 going into UFC Fight Night. Burns versus Brady. You hit your big bet, 500. Excuse me, on Mean Machine Steve Garcia at minus 185. That page at 270.27. You did give $200 back on Matt Schnell. No, you didn't, because that fight went off, or did it? No, yeah, that
no. Matt Schnell, it was $100 on Schnell. I lost 200 on Peak.
Yeah, 100 on Andrade. Gilbert Burns also failed to come in.
Yep.
I had you at minus 229.73 for the week. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. That is
Still
accurate.
Fine Fettel plus 953.05 for the year. Florian, pretty simple. $1,000 on Gilbert Burns at plus 154. That did not work out. So minus 29.89.87 on the year. Petrie's lead about 49.42. Yeah. Place your bets brought to you by JohnAnik.com. Promo code NOCHEUFC, 15% off everything. That includes one more sleep, Anik and Florian podcast merchandise, Una Dormita, Moss special design for Noche UFC. All you can handle at JohnAnik.com. Team Petrie, pay-per-view, UK for Riyadh season, Noche UFC. What do you have for us, good sir?
Well, I think Kenny and I are going to make some money this weekend because I got a band, 1,000 on Daniel Zellhuber. I really think this guy's the lock. I think he's going to show out. It's going to be a performance. And then give me 400 on Sugar Sean O'Malley, the Sugar Show. He's doing it. I think he's getting it done. Give me 300 on Alexa Grasso. And then give me another 300 on that beautiful Patrick Swayze looking son of a bitch, Diego Lopez.
All right, Petrie spreading around his action. And by the way, you guys can bet prelims that we don't discuss, as these guys know. And Cody and I were talking to Ken Flo at some point in time. You know, we might be starting to look at some $100 parlays or $50 parlays that are like 7 or 8 leggers. So we try to get one of those to come home. We can close this gap. We can. But right now, Ken Flo, you got $2,000 to spend. Noche UFC. Who do you like?
Well, I do have a couple of parlays for you. Well, let's put $500 on Zellhuber. Let's put $500 on Alexa Grasso. And let's put $500 on Lopez.
Yeah.
All right. And now here we got some parlay. Okay. cheesy, but I'm going to do this. $250 parlay, Zellhuber, Lopez, Marab. And another $250 parlay on Zellhuber, Lopez, O'Malley.
Okay.
All right, Kemflo spreading it around as well. We'll see how it all goes down this weekend. If you want more from Petrie, his MMA Takes podcast is outstanding.
Sure is.
We're having a good hair day as well, buddy. We hope you have a great day and a better evening. Enjoy the pay-per-view. I know for a UFC fan that dates back as long as you do, you're going to be pretty impressed visually. And we'll see what you think on the backside next week, my man.
I can't wait. I can't wait for you to tell me how it is in person. I wish I could be there, but it's going to be amazing. I know it. So have fun. Take it all in, Johnny. It's 1-1 apparently. Let's go, boys.
Thank you, buddy. Brian Petrie with us for the Main Event Challenge, and place your bets every week here on the Anik Florian podcast. My guy, Craig Borsari, actually told me I have the worst seat in the house for this, and I'm not going to ingest any of it. So we'll see how it all goes down, but a special live event is coming your way. Needless to say, Noche UFC live on pay-per-view this weekend, and we have good news. We are back with a special live Sunday show, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, this coming Sunday, September 15th. Full recap of UFC 306. And we can't wait to realign with you folks then. Thanks to Brian Petrie and our producer, Cody Merrill. With that, for Kemflo, I'm John Anik. Don't forget, check out our episode from earlier this week, featuring, among others, Josh Thompson, Kevin Lee, Oscar Willis, and, of course, the star of the show, Ray Longo. We'll see how it all goes down. O'Malley v. Dvalishvili. Won't be long now, folks. For Kemflo, I'm John Anik. Thanks for watching, listening, subscribing. Tell your friends. We'll talk to you on Sunday morning. Until then, you'll live.
I love this shit.
To the bread, he's cornbread. Cornbread. He's cornbread. Cornbread. Life is so precious, do the best that you can. Keep your hands on the ball, hit the open man. He's cornbread.